Good morning, children. This is Miss Laura. Today we are going to talk about erosion and deposition. Erosion and deposition. The natural bridges we saw in the last lesson were formed by erosion. Erosion is the process of weathered rock moving from one place to another. The process of eroded materials being dropped off in another place is deposition. Erosion and deposition work together to change the shape of the land. Erosion and deposition by running water. As water runs downhill, it can wash away soil and erode rock. The water, soil, and rocks will eventually flow into a larger body of water, such as a river. Rivers with fast moving water tend to follow straight paths. Fast moving water has more energy. It can wash away larger amounts of heavier sediment. Here is an example of a river with fast-moving water. Rivers with slow-moving water tend to follow curved paths. Slow-moving water has less energy. It carries smaller particles of sediment. Here is an example of a river with slow-moving water. Check-up questions. What are the characteristics of rivers with fast-moving water? Follow straight paths. Fast-moving water has more energy. Can wash away larger amounts of heavy sediment. What are the characteristics of rivers with slow-moving water? Tend to follow curved paths, has less energy, carries smaller particles of sediment. Rivers eventually fall into larger bodies of water, such as a lake or oceans. Since the water is no longer flowing downhill, it slows down. The sediment carried by the water is deposited on the bottom of the lake. Over time, this sediment builds up into a platform called a delta. A river delta is a landform at the mouth of a river, where the river deposits sediments into a sea, ocean, or lake. Rivers deposit sediment when they flow out of a steep, narrow canyon. Here, the stream becomes wider and shallower. The water slows down as it spreads out. Sediment is deposited in a landform called an alluvial fan. An alluvial fan is a fan or cone-shaped deposit of sediment built up by river streams. When a rushing river runs out of a narrow canyon, it slows down and becomes shallower. Sediment is dropped, causing an alluvial fan to form. Check-up questions. Let's compare the two landforms. Delta. Landform caused by the dropping of sediment when moving water slows down. A delta is formed when a river flows into a larger body of water. Alluvial fan. Landform caused by the dropping of sediment when moving water slows down. An alluvial fan is formed when a river runs out of a canyon.